Want to start now with the special session that kicks off at noon on Monday. Governor Greg Abbott wants all lawmakers to address 18 different topics, and topping the list is the state's response to the Texas flooding disaster in the Hill Country. More than 100 people died during flash flooding in and around Kerrville on July 4th. The first 4 topics of the upcoming session involve flood and disaster preparedness, and that includes relief funding for flood victims, addressing early warning systems and emergency communications. Last Thursday, the governor acknowledged the challenges of spotty cell phone service in that area and problems with communications within Kerr County.
There is virtually no cell phone availability at any time. Cell phone warnings would have, I think they were triggered, but they largely would have been irrelevant because of the inability for people to communicate. So I'm going to add to the menu. We have to work on improving communication levels in all of these different regions. Improving communications will be a part of early warnings that we need to address.
Both Lieutenant Governor Patrick and Speaker Burrows announced their committee appointments. In the Senate, 9 members were appointed, 7 Republicans and 2 Democrats. None of them are from North Texas. Charles Perry of Lubbock is the Senate committee chair.
Not one single person will be left behind when it comes to what they need addressed, and we'll find a way to do it. I wish I had all those answers today, Governor. We could save some special session time. But I trust my 181 colleagues in the House and the Senate. They're engaged. This is a serious issue. We've been here before as a state on some level, and we will come out shining as Texas always does.
9 members of the House are on that committee, 6 Republicans and 3 Democrats. And again, none of them are from North Texas. The committee will have their first hearing at the Capitol on Wednesday, July 23rd. The second hearing will be the following week in Kerrville on July 31st. Another big issue in front of the legislature is redistricting, and this one really is a significant one. Right now, this is the current map. Have a look at it. This is for congressional districts within the state. And then zooming down to North Texas, you can see how the area is divided. The Texas congressional district in the House is divided this way: 25 Republicans and 12 Democrats. 1 seat in Houston is vacant. President Donald Trump making it clear that he wants to turn a red Texas even more red.
I think we get 5, and there could be some other states. We're going to get another 3 or 4 or 5 in addition. Texas would be the biggest one, and
so
that'll be 5.
Are you calling then for a complete redrawing of the congressional map ahead of next year?
Just a very simple redrawing. We pick up 5 seats.
And
but we have a couple of other states where we'll pick up seats.
Well, Governor Abbott cited a letter from the Department of Justice that told him the state had 4 unconstitutional race-based congressional districts that need to be corrected. They include 4 seats held by Democrats, 3 of them in Houston and 1 in North Texas, the District 33 seat that is currently held by Mark Vesey. Members of the Texas Congressional Democratic Delegation are now preparing for a political fight. They're shoring up their support and their messaging ahead of the start of the special session.
They are specifically deciding to splinter the communities of common interest, as well as just blatantly say we are going to dilute minority voices.
Well, I did ask CBS News correspondent Scott McFarlane about the redistricting debate. Here's what he had to say.
Let me say this unequivocally and with emphasis. This is a fixation in Washington now. What is happening with the Texas Legislature, how they do, if they do, redraw the lines in the districts mid-census. There's a concern from Democrats they could lose more seats in Texas from their congressional delegation if the lines are redrawn a certain way. There's some Republicans who are worried about the redraw, that it may knock out some incumbents in the process. The president's trying not to lose his majorities in the House in the midterm elections. That's already a possibility. He's looking to Texas to help reduce that possibility.
We're going to talk about property taxes now and the governor's call for even more reform on the issue during the special session. Ellis County Representative Brian Harrison has filed 10 bills on the topic, including 1 bill to abolish ad valorem taxes altogether. Jack Fink spoke to Representative Harrison, who says the legislature didn't go far enough on property taxes during the regular session.
If they gave us one job this session, it was to cut their property taxes immediately and put our state on a path to full elimination. And quite frankly, I offered budget amendments, over 30 of them, on our budget, and I identified $90 billion that we could cut out of our budget, and we could have cut people's property taxes in half, or about 40%, almost immediately.
Well, before the deadly flash flooding and the calls to redraw the congressional district lines, a topic expected to get the most attention was regulating the hemp industry in the state of Texas. Governor Greg Abbott vetoed a bill that would have banned consumable THC products with less than 40 minutes to go before a midnight deadline. That happened last month, you might recall that. The governor says that he rejected the measure of legal concerns, and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who pushed for the bill during the regular session, did not hold back on his criticism of that decision.
One can only come to this conclusion, which surprises me. The governor of the state of Texas wants to legalize recreational marijuana in Texas.
All of that exposed a split between Republicans over whether to ban THC products. Dallas Democrat Michaela Plesa explained to Jack what she wants to see lawmakers accomplish during a special session on the issue.
And Texas has now become the 40th state to expand its medical cannabis program, and I'm very proud of that. We need to make sure that veterans have access to the medicines they need, and people who are chronically ill have that freedom. And so what I would like to see is what we've seen in some of our neighboring states, right? Oklahoma has a medical cannabis program that also has something like regulations of THC and low-dose hemps and Delta 8s and Delta 9s. Louisiana has a program as well, and so does New Mexico. So I think that we can just look at our neighbor states to see what they're doing, what works for them, and how they're protecting their consumers.
And I know the lieutenant governor has said that he basically says regulation basically would be allowing recreational use of marijuana. Do you agree with that?
No, I think that that's silly, and I think that the lieutenant governor knows better than that. I think that Texans deserve freedom. I think that they know what's best for themselves. We should be allowing Texans to make choices as to how they deal with their chronic pain, and I believe that they know best, right? I'm not trying to regulate their use of medical cannabis.
Well, another issue that we are keeping a very close eye on during the special session is Governor Abbott's call to eliminate the STAR test. He wants it replaced with other ways to assess students' progress along with school accountability. A bill focused on that issue died in the last days of the regular session. And when lawmakers go back to work on Monday, we will be there. The I-Team's Andrea Lucia will be in Austin when the session begins. You can look for her reports on air and online. CBSNewsTexas.com will have you covered there. For some history of special sessions in Texas, let's bring in Sarah Jenkins now with a quick brief for this week.
Texas lawmakers meet every 2 years for 140 days. But if they have unfinished work, the governor can call what's known as a special session. It's kind of like overtime for lawmakers. The governor is the only one who can call a special session, and they can call as many as they want, whenever they want, and there's no limit to the number of topics the governor wants lawmakers to tackle. The record is 253. It's held by William P. Hobby, the governor, in 1919. One special session can't last longer than 30 days, but can move as fast as lawmakers want. One called in 1923 lasted only an hour and no measures were passed. But these special sessions do come at a cost to taxpayers. A 30-day session can add up to or more than $800,000, which only covers per diems, essentials like food and lodging. The cost usually exceeds $1 million.